Out here, it's different. The wood, the water, the wild. This is where we hunt. This is where we fish. This is how we live. Welcome to the We Hunt 2, WeFish2 Podcast, where we hunt, fish, and live outside. Welcome back to another episode of We Hunt 2, WeFish2, where we hunt, fish, and live outside. Today, we have another special guest for you, one that I think is a fan favorite one, particular interest of mine and Lou's. We have today Mr. Rick Dillard. Now today's episode is a little different, but kind of the same thing what we're trying to do, trying to inform you guys about land management. And we have an expert that can give you some information on that. Mr. Dillard bio is truly extensive, folks. So you guys have to bear with me. So I'm going to try to give you some highlights to his background. He's a Mississippi native. He managed about 75 fisheries in the state of Mississippi. He'd also have degrees in that area, fishing management. He's a U.S. Forest Service biologist, fish wildlife program manager. He oversees 1.2 million acres, as well as 75 public fishing lakes. He's an official Boone Crockett scorer. He has hunted over 10 plus states, including the Grand Canyon, and he holds that illustrious Grand Slam turkey hunter distinction. So, guys, please help me welcome Mr. Rick Dillard to the show. Thank you for coming on, Mr. Dillard. I'm truly honored having you on as a guest today, and I know Lou is too. So tell us a little bit more, if you don't mind, the things that I may have missed to give our audience an idea just who Mr. Rick Dillard is.
Well, Mr. Rick Dillard is a country boy. I grew up as a country boy. I mean, it's in my blood. It's in my bones. It's who I am. It's what I live and breathe every day. I love the outdoors. I love hunting, fishing. Just to give you a little background about myself is I grew up at a time when there wasn't a lot of hunting and fishing on TV, but there was a TV show on Sundays called The American Sportsman with Kurt Gowdy. Loved it. I mean, I got mad when the preacher went too long on Sunday and I got home and American Sportsman had gone off. And so I live for watching American Sportsman. I live for watching Wild Kingdom on Sundays. So love the outdoors. My dad was an outdoorsman. It goes back my family way back to his family. His grandfather taught him how to hunt and fish and was a trapper. So outdoors is in my blood. And because of that, I always had a great interest in knowing the background. Why? Why did big deer come from here, but they don't come from there? Why did big fish come from Uncle Joe's pond, but yet you go fish this lake over here? And I always had that in the back of my mind. So at that time, even though I didn't realize it, I knew my destiny was to become a biologist, to become somebody that investigated and determined and learned those things. Why? And wasn't sure, finished high school, didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew in my heart that's what I wanted. So after a year of kind of floundering around as a freshman and not figuring out, I finally figured out what I wanted to do. And I got into the wildlife and fisheries arena. And I didn't know how I was going to make a living. Didn't know what my career was going to be, but I knew it was going to make me happy.
Yes, sir.
And I've never regretted a day.
Yeah, you bring back memories, Mr. Dillard, with that Wild Kingdom.
Yes, you do.
I promise you do. And you also, I might age myself with this, and I don't know if y'all had to do this, but back in when I was a ninth grader in high school, they did those career surveys, and those career surveys had a section that kind of gave you some inventory of your personality. Would you be a financial person or a leader or outdoorsman? Now I remember, clicking that, but in the back of my mind, I knew that would never fly over with my mom.
We did. We had to feel one of those.
So that wasn't something that I would choose. But I remember that survey, even back then, gave students an option to look at outdoor as a possible career.
They did.
So with that, folks, today's episode is looking at land management, habitat improvement, conservation, and how all of those things work together to produce, wildlife population that is better for hunting. Hunters often dream a lot of times about big bucks, that trophy buck, those incredible turkey hunts and healthy wildlife that gives them those opportunities of a lifetime. But many people don't see is the incredible effort, the amount of work that goes into making these situations, these opportunities happen. Long before hunting season ever starts, there's work and preparation that goes into it. We've talked briefly about this in a couple of episodes before, but today we're going to dive a little bit deeper, drill down a little bit further to give you an understanding of why these things are important. So forests don't improve by accident. You have, foresters and individuals like Mr. Dillard that are at hard work to help maintain a habitat out in the forestry, making sure the canopies are proper, the forest floors are managed in a way that produce that food or variety of food that the wildlife needs. So tonight we're talking to someone who spent his career in doing just that, in hunting and fishing, to help make these spaces better for all of us. So Rick, tell us about growing up. I know you talked there briefly earlier, particularly, but what made you choose wildlife biology? And when did it become not necessarily a career, but more so of a hobby?
So what made me choose it was, again, I can remember going fishing with my father, going fishing with my grandmother, and catching fish. And we'd go to one pond, or what we call a slough. We'd catch grinnell, and we'd catch crappie and brim and things like that. We'd catch bass, and we'd go to another, we were catching different fish. And so I'm always wondering in the back of my mind, why? Why this particular lake right here produces big bass? Why can I only catch little bitty bass in this one? Or even when it came to wildlife, why certain areas, when my dad would take me squirrel hunting, you could find fox squirrels. And where we're at, fox squirrels was something that wasn't very common, but there were some areas where you could find fox squirrels at. And so it was always like a trophy when we were squirrel hunting to kill a fox squirrel. And then some areas you could kill gray squirrels. And so I always wondered about this. So my dad would talk about bottom white oak trees and cypress trees and all that. And all of this stuff is just sticking in the back of my mind. Why? And I'd run home and I'd pull out the encyclopedia, World Book Encyclopedia, man. And I'm sitting at
that blue book.
That blue book, yeah. I'm looking through that World Book Encyclopedia and I'm looking up the different things, and Daddy would call out this and that, and I'd look that stuff up, and I always just wondered why. And so at that time, I didn't even know that there was any type of career that was available in that type of stuff, but I knew I loved it. And so I got to high school, and so just like you all, they asked me the questions about what you want to be, and I think I put down wildlife management, but I had no idea of wildlife and fisheries and what it took to get a degree in it. Careers were available, but I knew I loved it. And after the first year of kind of floundering around in college and really not sure what I wanted to do, and I knew I wasn't happy. I knew, and everybody else was talking about computer science, engineering, and all those things. And it's like, that just doesn't make my clock tick. That just doesn't do anything for me. And all of a sudden, I pull out this thing from Mississippi State University, and it's talking about wildlife management. I'm like, whoa, yes. And it talked about forestry and tree management and fisheries and all this stuff. It's like, yes, that's what I want to do. And I had no idea what I'd get a job in it or not, but that's what I want to do. And my parents and other people ask me, Rick, what is that? Because everybody is encouraging you to become a doctor, to become a lawyer.
Right.
All those things like that. It's like, I don't want to do that. And so just a quick segue, man, while I was in college, I was ridiculed. I was ridiculed by my peers and other African-American friends and things like this. Like, man, what you want to do that for? Why you want to go work out in the woods? And you can't have no job doing that. And I mean,
yes, you can.
I was the Lone Ranger doing it, but all I can tell anybody is follow what God has given you internally, what you want to do, and you do that, and you'll never be unhappy, and you'll never work hard a day in your life.
Do what you love and love what you do.
Love what you do. There you go. There you go.
That's right.
All right.
So in your career, and it spans many, many years, and you told us what drew you to wildlife management. But can you point to one thing, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Lou, that you can say was your proudest moment in your career up until this point?
There is so many of them, but I'm going to go one that you all probably don't know about, but has been my proudest, is that the fact that, so I'm gonna give you just a quick minute background. when I was growing up and my dad was deer hunting and some of his friends would kill big deer, and I was just always amazed with big antlers and big bucks and where did they come from. And so at that point, even as I became a young adult, Mississippi really just wasn't on the radar for big bucks. And you'd always hear about Illinois and Ohio like that. And I was like, well, I know people have killed big bucks. I've seen them on the wall. I've heard about it, but Mississippi didn't have any way of displaying it. And so it just came on my heart. How can I do that? And I just started putting stuff together. I just started writing out outlines and coming up with stuff with how I could do it. And I actually approached the Mississippi Wildlife Federation and the Department of Wildlife and said, Rick, you got something. And they said, we'll support you if you'll head this up and you'll do it. So I started the Magnolia Records program, which was outside of my job. This is something that I did volunteer on my own time. And so as a result, over the last 25 years, I have been able to collect and put together the largest deer that had been killed in the state of Mississippi. And as a result of that, about 10, 12 years ago,
I
helped produce this book right here, Magnolia Records, which is the largest bucks killed in the state of Mississippi. I went and tracked down all of these hunters, got photos of their deer, got stories. And so I got page after page of big bucks, the counties they were killed in, whether they were killed with archery, fire, all of that stuff. And so I got all of that information, got stories, pictures of the hunters, pictures of their. I actually took these photos and edited them and everything. And so this is probably my proudest accomplishment in my career that I have put together the Magnolia Records program for the state of Mississippi. And up to this point, we have officially scored almost 10,000 deer over the last 25 years.
Well, Rick,
that's amazing.
Rick, you should have put on your bio a journalist as well, because to write a magazine and to edit it yourself, I mean, that's outstanding. I mean, to do that work and do what you love and love what you do is not work, is the way you live and the way you carry yourself. It speaks a lot about you as an individual doing that type of things. And when it comes to the forestry, the 1.2 million acres. Do you have help managing this property?
Oh, yeah. So I don't want to give the impression, and I do not want to take credit that I'm the one out there doing everything. I have oversight. So I am the state Fish and Wildlife Program Manager for 6 national forests scattered across the state: Holly Springs National Forest, Tom Beatty, Delta, Bienville, Omachito, and DeSoto. And so they're scattered all the way from the Tennessee line down to the Gulf Coast, from the Mississippi Delta all the way over to East Central Mississippi. So we have wildlife biologists that actually work on the districts that are out doing the work. I'm overseeing. I do the planning. I make sure, how much prescribed burning? What do we want to do to help turkey? What do we want to do? How are we going to work with the Department of Wildlife in terms of where we put our wildlife openings? In terms of waterfowl over on Delta National Forest, which areas are we going to flood in order to attract wildlife coming in? What are, some of the other things we do when we're trying to manage southern pine beetle epidemics and maintain the habitat for that? Where are we going to cut trees? What type of trees are we going to cut? What type of trees are we going to protect? How much openings do we want to have? So I provide a lot of input into making sure that we do what we do. I provide input into our monitoring. So where we work with the state on doing spotlight surveys and infrared surveys for deer. We do wild turkey poult surveys. So we do that. I take care of shocking the lakes, and we go out and check the lakes, the fish population. So I wear a lot of different hats. I do a lot of different things.
How important is it to burn?
Extremely important. Because what I have seen happen time and time again, especially on private land, is that somebody may decide to get their timber cut. And so they'll get their money from it and they let it go. And so it is what it is. And over time, what nature does is that nature, the trees are going to go through a process, just say over 100, 200 years, to the point that those trees are going to get bigger. They're going to shade out the understories. Not much is going to grow there. Or there's going to be a point where the undergrowth is going to be so thick that it's not good for wildlife. It's not good for people. And so what you want to do is you want to kind of reset everything. And so prescribed burning is the cheapest, easiest way to reset and keep that understory, especially for deer and turkey, to keep that understory at a stage to where it benefits them. So the main thing, if y'all don't remember nothing else when it comes to deer management, is a deer's world is about 4 feet high and lower to the ground. Anything
Gotcha.
above that really doesn't do deer any good. And so in
Okay.
order to do that, you do your prescribed burning, which is going to burn back your smaller saplings, kill them back off, and you're going to get fresh undergrowth. It comes back
Okay.
up, and that fresh undergrowth is up to 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet high. And
Okay.
that provides food for the deer, provides cover for turkey and quail. And so that prescribed burning is sort of a reset. If you do it every 2, 3, 4 years or whatever, you're setting that and keeping it in a stage that's really good for those type of wildlife.
Well, and if someone has, and I'm not sure if you want to say something, Doc.
Go ahead, Luke.
But if someone had 40 acres they have, I guess we'll just say ideal situation. They got water running through. They have pine. They have oaks. They have, and in the oak flat, the canopy pretty much kills the undergrowth. So if they got an ideal situation with oaks and cover and pine and water, where would you suggest they start if they wanted to create a good habitat and hunting ground for themselves?
So the first thing to do is, and because I won't profess to be able to tell y'all everything that needs to be done without actually seeing it myself, is to contact your state wildlife agency and get a wildlife biologist. Almost every state has wildlife biologists within your county or within your region of the state, and they will come out and do a site visit. They'll come out and do a site visit with you, and they will tell you what you need to do. So the first thing to do is just kind of decide, what is it that I'm wanting to focus on? Am I wanting to focus on habitat for deer, for turkey, for quail, for squirrel? And keep in mind, there's going to be some overlap. But everything that's good for deer may not necessarily be good for turkey, or may not necessarily be good for squirrel. So figure out what it is that you want to do and then do that. But the main thing to remember also is, with the exception of squirrel, is getting sunlight to the ground.
Okay.
So the canopy, as these trees get bigger and they shade it out, there's very little sunlight getting to the ground. So you need to get sunlight to the ground. So now either you can do it or Mother Nature's going to do it.
All right,
Now,
guys, there's got a call coming in. I got a question, I think. Let's see if we can let's answer this question. All right, welcome, caller.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
Doing great.
Just had a brief question.
Okay.
So I guess you could say, how important is doe management and the importance of it when it comes to harvesting a quality buck?
Okay, you said doe management and harvesting a quality buck. How important is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's very important. So one thing to remember starting out is that when fawns are born in the deer population, they come in at roughly 50-50. So 50% of the fawns born are going to be bucks, 50% of them are going to be does. However, if you don't do doe management and you don't harvest an equal amount of does as you do bucks, over time, you're going to get a buildup of does, which is going to have an increase in the population, which in turn is going to turn around and affect your habitat. So the quality of your habitat is going to go down if you don't keep your deer population under control. So if you don't have good quality habitat, that in turn is going to affect the quality of the bucks, because if they're not able to get the quality of forage that they need, and the size of their racks, the size of their bodies, and everything else are going to go down. Plus, what's going to happen is that you're going to have an unbalanced sex ratio. Some people call it buck to doe ratio. So you're going to wind up maybe with roughly, say, 3 does, 4 does, 5 does for every buck you see. And not a lot of those bucks are going to make it to the older age class of what people want to see when they want to kill quality bucks. So I could go into a lot more detail, but just in brief, it's very important to harvest the does. Now, I want to go back for just a second to say that during the restoration time, just say, for instance, during the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, they drilled into the public. Killing a doe was an absolute no-no, because there were no deer. There were no deer on the landscape, or very few deer. So in order to get the population up, you had to protect the does. And but over time, as that got drilled into our forefathers, our fathers and grandfathers, that's all they knew, is you don't shoot a doe. But now we have populations across every state in the U.S., especially in the Southeast, where we have too many deer in a lot of areas. You need to harvest as many does as you do bucks.
Okay, thank you, man. I got another follow-up question.
Okay.
Do you think prescribed burning during turkey nesting season is worth fussing over, or should hunters be grateful for the reset button that just got pressed on their habitat?
Nah, that's a good
Boy,
question. Good question,
boy,
caller.
boy, you talk about pressing the hot button. Do you know how much
Oh,
do
you
you
about
know
to
how
press the
much
hot
time
button on that one.
I spend on my job every year during March and April, February, March, and April? Man, my phone burns off the hook with hunters
I
that are
know it
mad
does.
about it. And from a hunter standpoint, I can understand it. But
Right.
what you have to understand about the wild turkey is that there may be some small setbacks, but you're going to have short-term losses for a lot of long-term gain for the improved habitat. Because if you don't burn and that habitat is not, you're not going to produce very many turkeys. So for the few nests that you may burn up, I'm not saying you're not going to burn any nests up, but for the few that you may burn up, the good that you get out of it is going to be a lot more. Plus, typically, hens, if that nest is destroyed, they will go back and try to re-nest, 2, maybe 3 times over the course of the spring. So if that nest is destroyed in late March, early April, or whatever, they'll go back and re-nest again. So it's, we put out a lot of publications. We put out a lot of newspaper articles and things like that to try to get hunters to understand. But now this is the thing that I'm going to tell you all. And if most hunters knew this, they wouldn't even question it at all.
Right.
Do you know the best place to go turkey hunting? The best place to go turkey hunting is the place that was just burned today or yesterday.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. That newly burned place. Yes.
That newly burned place.
They scratching. They coming out scratching.
They come out scratching. So they looking for grasshoppers. They looking for acorns. They looking for bugs. They looking for lizards. They looking for things that got burned up. And those turkeys will be right back in that burn the same day or the next day after that burn. So burning is really not a bad thing, but hunters, kind of get mad because they've been planning their vacation
they get
all
mad.
week. And they get to the area.
It's not in their time frame.
It's not in their time frame, but they get there and the woods is burned up and they're mad. So, but so to answer your question, it ain't worth it. It overall, it's a great thing. Yes, there's going to be some minor losses, but overall, it's going to be great.
Good.
When
Caller,
do you
is
suggest?
that it, Caller, before we move on?
I'm a forester and I burn about 3,000 acres a year, and we do a lot of growing season burns. So when when that time frame comes in to kind of knock back some of that green growth, that spring green up, in my opinion, that's some of the best time to get a good growing season burn in. And as long as you put it in a way where it's checkerboard and you just not blacking in 1,000 acres at one time.
That's it.
I think it's very beneficial to turkeys. Not only turkeys, to deer, especially bucks in that period after the rut.
Right.
Okay. That's a lot of new growth on the ground for them as well. So
that's right.
Well, thank you, Caller. Man, we really appreciate that. Hey, we might have to get him on the show, Lou.
Yeah.
So what's your name?
Max.
Max. Okay, Max.
Okay.
I'm gonna get your information, and we got to try to swing back around you, man, to you, because thank you for that. We really appreciate it. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Go ahead. Wow, that was a great call. Appreciate that again. But what you had for Mr.
No, I was
Dillard?
just gonna say, because that's the thing about controlled burning, and I tried to relay that to some of the hunters and places that I hunt, and they didn't want to do it because of turkey season. And so I know I've done a controlled burn and an out of control burn, but that's another story. But I've done a burn, and the results were plenty of turkey, plenty of deer, and the hogs were there, right? So everybody came and enjoyed once it was done, and then the rain came, the sprouts was coming up, you saw turkeys coming over there. My question to you, when is it a good time to burn? Like what dates? Like after
that's good. That's good.
Cold winter season, then it's getting ready to jump into spring. Let me know what's a good time frame you should try to start burn and not burn.
It just depends. So there is not a cookbook. So we have what we call dormant season burns. We have what we call growing season burns, as we called them a minute ago. We typically do our dormant season burns, say anytime January, February, early March before spring green up. So what that does is you can burn up a lot of the leaf litter, the pine straw, and things like that. And it just depends on, so it's going to affect different vegetation than what it would a growing season burn. with dormant season burns, we tend to be able to burn larger areas. So we can burn, 200-300 acres. In the case of the Forest Service, we may wind up burning 1,000 acres. And we'll use helicopters and things like that. We'll ring the area out. We'll come up with helicopters and we'll drop these balls called napalms, which look like little bitty golf balls and tennis balls that are plastic that has potassium permanganate, and we inject the machine on the helicopter injects ethylene glycol, which is antifreeze, into it. That causes spontaneous combustion. So as we fly over, we're dropping all these balls out. That sets the entire acre area on fire and it burns it up. And we'll do that. Growing season burns usually start what we call growing season, where we have spring green up. But even a growing season burn that you do in April is going to give you different results than one you do in June and one that you do in August or September. The harder it is, the smaller the area you're going to be able to burn. You just got to watch your conditions and things like that. But in a lot of cases, in areas that we burn, we're trying to control sweet gum. Sweet gum really doesn't produce any wildlife benefits, so to speak, in terms of food, things like that. And sweet gum is very prolific. It just comes up all over the place. And so one of the best ways for us to control sweet gum is when we get a hot fire during the growing season, to burn it and kill it down to the root. So that growing season burn can be, depending on how you do it, anytime from, say, early to mid-April all the way over into June or July, just depending on when the conditions allow you to get in and do those burns. But I will say that for anybody that's wanting to burn on their own private land, talk to a forester. Also call your state forestry commission and make sure that you get a burn permit, because there are going to be times or conditions when it's too dry. And what can happen to you is what you said, out of control burn. The last thing you want to happen is for that burn to get away from you. Get away from somebody's land and cause some damage. So you want to make sure that you're burning within the parameters that allow you to keep it under control.
That's right.
Good. Awesome.
Okay.
People, we want to help our people understand that these hunting opportunities, come for are given toward thousands of hunters. And the way we look at it is very different than what, say, a layman person may look at it. So, people want instant results. They don't understand that it takes time. The things that is done to develop this habitat, the time that it takes things to grow, the time that it takes nature to take care of its whole ecosystem all on its own. The layman person or the average day-to-day person may not have a real understanding of what that is. That brings us to something that is, Lou and I always talked about, and that is that patience. How important is patience when it comes to either, habitat development, or if you want to, you can take the avenue in terms of harvesting that buck of a lifetime. Give us something, your idea about patience with the long haul. It could be both the habitat preparation or harvesting aspect.
The older I get, and my dad told me this, he said, just keep living. But the older you get, the more I understand the importance of patience and not getting in a rush to have instant results. You got to be patient. So in terms of habitat, you go out and you implement some practice or whatever and expecting immediate results that big bucks are going to be running all over the place or whatever is typically not going to happen. You got to be patient, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. And so you need to you need to be patient in terms of that, in terms of the habitat that you're managing, because it doesn't happen overnight. Also, in terms of patience, is that deer tend to have, we're going to talk about whitetail deer for a minute, tend to have what some people would call fairly small home ranges. And when I say fairly small, let's just say 1,000 acres. And so that deer grows up and it's got its core area in that 1,000 acres. So if you're not providing what that deer needs, that deer doesn't go looking for a new place to go live. It's going to live on that. So if you don't have the habitat that's conducive for deer to want to be there, then they're not going to be there. But as you start to improve the habitat, and then you get a few does, and she has a few fawns, and they're just on the edge of it, and then they start living there, and they come there. So now you got a buck fawn that was born there, that grew up there. Then it takes him 3 or 4 or 5 years that he's staying there to get to where he needs to be. And then maybe it takes a second generation. So So I want to dive off into this because I didn't even think about this until just now, but there's a thing that's called, I can't remember what the name of the research is for Mississippi State where they've done it, but where deer are determined by their habitat. But what deer do is that when the habitat is not good, there's an internal genetic mechanism that causes that deer to say, okay, I don't need to, well, it's not time to go, but they're going to say, okay, I don't need to express my total genetic traits of trying to grow big and try to do that. I'm going to tone it down. I'm going to tone it down. I'm going to stay small because the habitat quality is poor. So when you run out there and you go plant food plots and you do that, then everybody's expecting, okay, I'm going to plant food plots. I'm going to pour food on the ground and do all this stuff. I'm going to have excess results. The way nature does, nature tells that deer is like, okay, you can be fooled because nature has things to where, okay, you can have really good habitat one year and then you can have a poor acorn crop the next year. So that doe is going to sit back. I mean, the genetics within those deer is going to say, okay, no, we're just going to stay small.
Yeah.
We're going to stay a small. Go ahead.
Mr. Dillard, I hate to interrupt, but you have answered a question I've been trying to figure out for years now. Now, you know, people get into the discussion about antler growth and whatnot, how thick it is, this and that and the third. Now, this deer right here, it's a mature deer. I watched this deer for 2 years before I took it, so he has to be at least 4 years, or he's an older deer. But the thickness of his antlers does not represent his actual, what one maybe say is a 4 or 5 year old deer. I attribute that to the nutrition and the food availability, because I myself took over this farm and its development, and it took me 2 or 3 years to get it to where there's available food and a variety of food and nutrition that will actually produce bigger deer. But this deer is the result of one that, to what you just said, I believe that. I know that to be true. Some saying it. I didn't know what it is, but you answered it for me. What caused a mature deer antlers to not be as thick as some versus the other?
It's the habitat. So just to carry it a little bit further, Mississippi State did a research study, and this is how they determined this, is that they took a doe from poor habitat area in South Mississippi, brought her in, fed her high nutrition diet for her life. And she did, and then she and the bucks she produced did not get any bigger. It's like, okay, what's going on? So then they turned around and they took that first generation doe from her, and they fed that deer high protein, high nutrition, got a little bit better, but not that much. But then boom, the next generation, the switch flipped on. And all of a sudden, that deer, they were able to produce deer in that third generation. That were as big as areas that had high quality habitat in the Mississippi Delta. So, you know, when you hear people say, like down in the piney woods of southeast Mississippi, that our deer seldom get bigger than 120, 130 pounds, the bucks or whatever. Well, it's not just the poor habitat. It's the fact that the genetic switch on those deer has been turned off. And it won't turn on until the third generation. Once the third generation comes around, so now this goes back to what we talking about with patience. So you talk about with patience. So when you go in and you manage that habitat and you do that, you may have to wait 10 years to start to see some of the results of what you're doing. And you're going to start to see the size of those antlers get larger. As a result. So it's not going to, most people think all I got to do is go buy a bag of corn or plant this whiz bang food plot, all that stuff.
That's not going to do it. That's not going to do it. That's not going to do it. And I'm glad you said that. And this, what you just said, can go so deep. This can be a whole different segment about genetics, and because when people harvest and when people harvest doe, or they don't harvest doe, or they think if they don't harvest doe and they shoot the buck, they think they are getting rid of the bad genetics when a buck come in and they have one big side rack and one long side rack, and then they let all these does walk. When, if you let me know if I'm wrong, it's the does that really determine the genetics or the makeup of the bucks. Is that correct or that's wrong?
I would say the does contribute a greater part. I won't say that they don't that bucks don't contribute any to it, but does contribute a higher percentage to it. The problem is that you can't look at a doe. and
And tell
tell
them what kind of rank's going
which
to
What kind of rank? Right.
Yeah.
you cannot tell. So everybody's looking at, man, I'm going to improve the genetics of my property. I'm going to shoot that
Cull
that
book.
the cull buck.
Cull management. Yep.
Man, and I can get off in all type of stuff on the cull buck stuff. I could talk about that for days, but man, in my opinion, most of the time there are no cull bucks. If there is a buck you want to shoot and you're happy with killing, kill him.
Kill him.
And
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
Don't make excuses for, well, I just shot him because of the cull buck. Well, if you're happy with it, kill him. If you're not, let him go. But most of the time, there's no such thing as cull bucks. And either that buck from the beginning has probably got the genetics and got what it's going to take to be able to do it, and the habitat that's there to do it, or is not. Now, the main thing to do is to let a buck get at least, I'm going to say 2 to 3 years old, make your decision, what you want to do. A lot of the quote unquote cull bucks are bucks that damage their antler or damage the pedicle of their antler. And you have this nice size rack on one and this crazy rack on the other, whatever, they damage the pedicle. A lot of times the next year, if you let that buck go, his rack will come back and be normal. So he could have been jumping the fence, bumped into a tree when it was available or whatever. And so, anyway.
Okay.
Awesome.
But that is there. Okay.
That's great. We in switching gears, I just want to kind of tie this segment up for our folks at home. We said before, I said some people want instant results, but we have to understand, and Mr. Dillard just put it very poetically. Nature works on a different timeline, folks. You just can't throw a block or two out there and expect giant bucks the next season. It just doesn't happen. We think about these things as hunters, particularly those mature hunters or those that is really focused on habitat development and managing a herd. We think in terms of what's down the road. We think about what we do today affects the outcome of our second, third generation bucks down the road. And I think it's important that we take the points that's been mentioned today and take those to heart if you are serious about really developing the quality of deer that you really want to see. Because it doesn't start right away. It takes time, folks. It takes patience.
Absolutely.
So everything we talked about, from timber management, prescribed burn, food availability, cover, all of those things are important to that development as well. So with that, we're going to switch gears, Mr. Dillard, and talking about public land. Now, we've had an episode where we had the discussion between public and private, but in what we're talking about today in terms of deer habitat and deer development, my question is, can public land consistently produce mature bucks?
I'm going to say that's a double-edged question. that could go either way.
Okay.
But so this is how I'm going to answer it. If you compare public land to private land, no, it's not going to do it, because there's this thing that's called the tragedy of the commons. And I don't know if you all have ever heard of that or not.
Yes, Dr. O mentioned it last time. Yeah.
That's right. It's called the tragedy of the commons. The tragedy of the commons is anytime you have a public resource, everybody is thinking, I got to get mine before they get theirs.
Right.
When you have that type of mentality, what you have is little or nothing there available at the end, because everybody's trying to get theirs. So that's where you have state agencies, federal agencies that come in on public land and say, okay, here's what we got to do to try to spread the wealth. Now, spreading that wealth, quote unquote, mature bucks, older bucks, may not mean that you're going to produce the same amount or the number or the size of mature bucks that you would on private land, but it's finding that happy medium so that everybody has an opportunity at something. So you may not have everybody may not have an opportunity to go out and kill a 5 or a 6 year old buck, and everybody out there do that. It's probably not going to happen. But to at least get those bucks to 2 to 3 years older, so that a few of them that are smart enough will figure out where to go hide, where to go where humans are, and they make it. So now let's go into this next part here. There are hunters out there that have figured out how to hunt public land, and they consistently go in and kill mature bucks off of public land near big bucks, because they have figured out to do what other hunters are not doing, to find that smaller percentage of mature bucks that have survived on public land.
Okay.
So I don't know if I answered your question or not.
Absolutely. Here's a follow up, and I'm gonna throw it to Lou.
Okay.
You know, does that take into account that public land has changed, and if so, how does mature buck use public land now versus where it used to?
You asking me or Lou? You asking me?
I'm asking you, Mr. Dillard.
Oh,
I was just telling Lou, get ready to come on in now.
All right. Okay. All right. So yes, public land has changed because here's something that I have seen happen over the course of my lifetime, and it's constantly changing. So if you all think about it, even 30, 40 years ago or whatever, the average landowner, private landowner, may have had access or own 200, 300, 400, 500 acres.
Right.
And people could go hunt there. Okay. Now, over time, because of land being passed down to family members, land being broken up and being sold, the average person now, because of cost and everything else, the average person has got a block of land, a spot of land now. It may be 30, 40 acres, 20, 40 acres. And so everybody doesn't have the opportunity that you had years ago. When I grew up hunting, there was no posted laws. You drove down the road, and unless somebody had a posted sign up there that said, do not come on my land.
Yep.
Right.
You pull up on the side of the road, you walk in the woods, you go hunt, and the people didn't care. And so you had access to a lot of land. So public land was not as important then. But after the posted land laws came into effect and more people were trying to manage their land more intensively and keep other people off, for people that don't own land, public land became increasingly important. Became very important because that's the only place that they have to go and enjoy this activity. So as a result of that in some ways has caused increased pressure and use on public lands.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, we are, thank you for telling us that. And what I want to talk about now is something that a lot of people think that they can score an animal, and they think they know knowledge of how to measure their animals, Rick. But the words on the street and in the woods that you are a Boone and Crockett official scorer. And question to you is, I mean, what did it take to become official scorer? One, and the proper way to score a deer.
Okay. All right. First thing, let me tell you a little bit about the Boone and Crockett Club. The Boone and Crockett Club is the largest and oldest conservation organization in North America, in the United States, that was created by President Teddy Roosevelt back in the early 1900s, I think it was, because that was at a time when everybody had killed up most of the big game animals, most of the elk, the white-tailed deer, the mule deer, were getting close to becoming extinct if they didn't do something about it. So they formed the Boone and Crockett Club. And as a result of that, one of the things they wanted to do was to honor areas that produced mature animals. And the best representative of mature animals was the size of the antlers or the horn or bone that they grew. And so they developed a scoring system based on inches of antler, inches of a horn, that represented that. And the other thing that they did is they said, okay, the best representative is, and I lost my train of thought, but basically to where they are very the same from side to side. I can't think of the word, I lost it.
Proportion.
But proportion, that they're consistent from side to side. And so if they're not consistent, then you take deductions from that. So anyway, that basically became the Boone and Crockett scoring system, which has been adopted across most state agencies, most states, other scoring organizations have adopted the Boone and Crockett scoring system. Now, to answer your question about becoming a Boone and Crockett scorer, number one, it is an honor. Not everybody can just go out and say, I want to become a Boone and Crockett scorer and do it.
Right.
It's very competitive. You have to go to a special training. And this training, they train you to score not only white-tailed deer, but over 30 big game animals that occur in North America. So I am qualified to score everything from mule deer to moose to elk to walrus, muskox, bison.
Did you say walrus?
Walrus,
yes, it did.
Measured the
tusk,
yeah. The tusk, right. Muskox, bison, a bighorn sheep, bear, mountain lion, jaguar. I can score all of those.
Awesome.
And each one of those animals have a minimal requirement for being entered into the Boone and Crockett Club. And so, but I had to go to a 1-week training at my expense. So it's not like my agency, because my agency has nothing to do with that I work for. This is volunteer that I do. So I did it at my expense. And if they say, well, hey, Rick, you got this application in to become a Boone Crockett scorer, we have a training that's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Okay. And so are you willing to come? So if I want to be a Boone Crockett scorer, I pack up my stuff.
Time to
I
go.
drive up, time to go. I find me a hotel. I stay up there for a week and I go to the training. They may say it's in Arizona. They may say wherever it's at. And so you got to be willing, if you want to do that bad enough, to do it.
Go there,
And they only certify, say for instance, 40 or 50 Boone Crockett scores a year. So off the top of my head, across the entire United States, I want to say it's maybe right now about 1,500 official Boone Crockett scores across the entire country.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're going to have to maintain that license yearly or
Yeah. So you maintain it yearly. So basically what you do is they will send you a questionnaire or whatever. And do you want to continue being a Boone Crockett scorer? And you say yes. And of course, I don't see it right here in front of me now, but they give us this big, thick manual. So after the training, and they update that manual every 3 or 4 years. And so when you get there, I may get there and I see a moose. And it's like, okay, I haven't scored a moose since I did it at the training, but I know how to follow the instructions that are in that manual that we have to officially score
Gotcha.
that animal. A lot of people think they can score, but
they're not scoring right.
they're not scoring right. So they think they can score. Everybody can score a basic.
They just got a tape. They just got a tape.
Here.
They just got tape in their hand.
Right. So everybody can score a white-tailed deer. So
Right.
So I will get to the last part of your question where you were talking about deer. So hold on for a second. So I'm gonna show y'all something right quick. Let me grab this head here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this deer here doesn't score high of anything, but I'm just gonna use this as an example. So one of the things that you do when you're scoring a deer is you take a measurement using a cable and you measure the outside of the main beam from the bird all the way to the tip. You write that down. You measure, this is called the G1. Some people call it the brow tine. You act as if you were going to cut this right off the top of the main beam. You put a mark there. You measure that from there to the end of the tip. So say, for instance, that's 3 inches. You write that down. You do that for each point. You write that down. This is the right side.
Gotcha.
Of the deer. Okay. You do the same thing for the left side. Then the other thing you do is you take circumferences. So you take four circumferences starting here between the bird and this point here, and you find the smallest point and you wrap a tape around it and you come up with, say, for instance, 4 1/8 inches. You write that down. Write one down here. You write one down here. With this being an 8 point, you got to measure halfway between this point and the end of the main beam. And say, for instance, that's at this spot right here. You're going to wrap your tape around it. You're going to measure that right there. You're going to write that down. Do the same thing for this side. Gotcha. You're also going to take an inside spread. You're going to get the inside spread, not the outside spread, the inside spread at the widest point, but not catty corner. It's got to be perpendicular like that, straight across, and you write your inside spread down. Now, you write all of that down. The other thing that you do is you're going to take down the difference between this point, this G1 and this G1. So say, for instance, this one is 3 2/8 inches, and this one is 3 6/8 inches. Then you're going to take the difference between that, which is 4/8 inches. You're going to write that down. You're going to deduct that from the final score. You're going to do that for every one of these measurements except the inside spread. You're going to write all of that down. You're going to write down the deductions. And after you add it all up, you subtract the deductions. That's the net score for that deer.
Wow.
Okay.
That's the net. That's how you score a deer.
Now, the deductions, that's the first time I've heard that. And I'm sure those that are scoring these deer saying they got this amount of inches are not taking that deduction into consideration. Is that a common practice, Mr. Dillard?
That's extremely common. So the thing about and so what you're talking about,
I bet you them jokers they gonna keep their inches.
That's called a gross score. So that's all of the inches, and that's okay with that. Some people go by gross score.
The net is
but
what
the net
counts.
is the one that the net is what counts in terms of it going into the record book, if it's entered into the record book or not. So say for instance with Boone Crockett. Boone Crockett, a deer has to have a net score of 170 inches. People, that's
170.
huge.
Okay, that's qualified.
That qualifies to Boone Crockett.
That qualifies for Boone Crockett as a typical. That is huge.
Yes, it is.
That's a monster buck. Now, in order for that deer to net 170 inches, he probably grossed 180, 185.
185. Yeah.
Right. Or whatever. So by the time you take those side-to-side deductions, he's down to 170 in order to be able to make it. So now you get somebody that goes out there and they kill a deer, and that deer, they measured and it measured 173 inches. They're all excited. I've killed a Boone Crockett buck. Then they come to me and ask me to score it. And when I scored, number one, they didn't know how to score it, and they scored right. And so when I measured it, I came up with a gross of 168. And I come up with a net of 160. They mad at me.
Boss.
They mad at me, and they mad at me, and they ready to shoot me. And you don't know how many people I've had that have been mad at me as a result of that.
Yeah.
Well, I scored it, and I had them to score it over the so-and-so big buck contest. And you must not be doing it right. You don't know what you're doing.
So
What's
the most impressive buck that you scored?
Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention, you have non-typical bucks and you have typical bucks. Non-typical bucks got points sticking everywhere, all that kind of stuff. The most impressive that I've scored is a deer that was killed just outside of Natchez, Mississippi, that scored 232 inches.
Oh, free range?
This free range. Yes, this is free range. Boone and Crockett and the state record organization, we do not allow deer that are killed inside of enclosures. Okay. This is free range. This deer scored 232 inches net. I can't remember. He probably grossed around net. Yes.
So he was 250 easy.
Yeah, he probably was around 250 gross. I can't remember. Typical, the biggest I've scored, I want to say was around 178, maybe net. Probably grossed around 185. Was also killed around Natchez, Mississippi. So those are two. Anytime you get in that soil region right there close to the Mississippi River, you got good soils. You can grow big bucks. You can grow some of the biggest bucks in the country. Yep. Okay.
Wow. Well, he asked the most impressed. What are some misconceptions, Mr. Dillard, that you hear a lot?
I kind of hit on those misconceptions. The misconceptions are just the fact that they think that the gross score is the net score. They don't know how to do the deductions properly. Right. And so misconceptions is that they will just take off one time for an abnormal point that's 3 inches long. In reality, because that 3 inches was added into the gross, you got to take the 3 inches off, but you also got to take it off again because anything that's not considered a normal point is a deduction in itself. So I'm deducting 6 inches rather than 3, and they don't understand that. And I won't get off in all of the details, but they get mad about that. And it's like, well, you must not have scored my deer right because I did the deductions too. And this is what I came up with. And it's like, no, you don't understand the scoring system and how to do it. So that's a misconception is the deductions.
I know Lou appreciate it. I know, and I appreciate it for this point here to inform our viewers of how it's actually done. Because for me, I didn't know, I watch the shows. And I see all of them measuring deer, but I don't see them deducting anything. They take the gross score and they bump in their chest, say, hey, I scored this deer, that deer. And, people think it's just measuring, right? But it's more involved in that. And I really appreciate you taking that deep dive and giving us a visual to see it.
Gross is okay. I tell people my gross. But gross is only good for if you just talking amongst hunters. If you talk about putting it in the record book, it has to be the net score. So if somebody says, well, Rick, what size deer is that particular deer on the wall? I say, well, that's a 141-inch deer. Now, if they don't ask me and I don't say what it actually went into the record book as, it grossed 141 inches. And so that's my bragging rights. That's what everybody wants to give the highest number that they can give. And I say it's 141-inch deer. Now, if they ask me what it net, I'm going to tell them it's 132. If they don't ask me, I'm just gonna say it's 141 deer. So that's kind of how that works.
Awesome. Let's move into another segment now. This is an interesting one, I think, for the view. And here's why I say this. I've when I hunt, Lou, I don't know about you. I know I use the moon phase or the movement of the moon. And I try to use it in a way that gives me the greatest opportunity to see deer on their feet. Particularly,
I go to Alabama Outdoors.
Alabama Outdoors, exactly. And it gives you those predicted times. And I must tell you, I must be honest with you, it's plus or minus 30, 45 minutes. The most I've seen is Yes, about 30, 45 minutes. They either off a little bit here or there. Most I've seen is about an hour. But my question, Mr. Dillard, how important is those phases like that? And how does weather play into that? And, Lil and I, we talked about weather, wind all the time. But can you kind of touch on temperature in terms of what
Sure.
could get deer on their feet?
Sure. So I'm going to start out with the moon phase.
Okay.
There's been tons and tons of research on it. Some says it does have an effect. Others says it don't. I don't know. I know for me personally, I have tried to keep up with it and look at it. I've seen times when I thought the moon phase was perfect and they ought to be moving, and they didn't move. They didn't move that day. It's like, why they did?
Right.
And so then I might hunt the second day, they might not. And then maybe one of those days they might move. My thing on that is only the deer know when they want to move, and it ain't always
Absolutely.
it ain't always
That's right.
what we think y'all to be. Now, that being said, temperature is more important than
Okay.
moon, but temperature is not what everybody thinks it is.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
It is an abrupt change in the current temperature. So say, for instance, y'all should pay attention to this if you've ever seen it. Even in September, October, and it's been 90-degree days every day, and it's just hot. All of a sudden, you get this cold, quote unquote, cold front that comes through, and it drops the temperature down to 65 or 70 degrees. All of a sudden, you see deer moving everywhere, and the deer moving. There was an abrupt change that one day, and the deer felt good. And it's just like you go outside, it's like, man, it feels good today. And they get and the deer move because it is an abrupt change. Now, I just say 65 degrees. Now, you can be this December and it's 65 degrees and the deer ain't moving.
It moving.
Right.
You said 65. Yeah, they didn't got
That's right.
It ain't the temperature itself, it's the abrupt change. So now all of a sudden, it's been 65 degrees every day and it drops down to 45.
45.
Boom.
Yeah.
The deer are
snap.
gonna move. A cold snap, the deer are gonna move. Or it could be 40 degrees and the temperature drops down to 30. It's been 40 degrees every day. All of a sudden, boom, it drops down to 30. You will see an increase in deer movement. Now, there is I guess you would say a point of where that doesn't make a difference anymore, because when it gets to the point, especially here in the South, when it's 20 degrees and it drops down to 15, that ain't gonna make the deer move, because either way it's cold. So when you start dropping down below 25 degrees or whatever, 25, 30 degrees, then those abrupt temperature changes are not going to make the deer move as much.
Different.
But it's the temperature change. Now, wind.
Okay.
I heard you mention wind.
Yes.
Okay. I don't like wind because it affects me personally. That I don't like it when it's very windy.
No, absolutely.
Deer also don't like it, but usually the best deer movement, if the wind stays 5 to 10, 12 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, it's not going to be that big of a deal. When you get up to 15, 20 miles an hour, deer get to where they don't like that. They hunker down.
They shut it down.
They shut it down. But now I'm going to tell you one thing that I have seen. I've only witnessed it about 2 or 3 times. I saw the wind get up to 30 miles an hour.
Taking your head off.
The deer did not like that. And the reason they didn't like it is because they are used to being in a controlled situation where they can smell and they can see and they can hear. When the wind's going 30 miles an hour, they can't hear. A predator can sneak up on them. All of the leaves and the trees and the limbs and everything are moving around, so there's movement, so they can't detect movement. You know what they do? They will run straight out in the middle of a field.
Middle field. Yep.
In the middle of the field.
I've seen
and
that.
they'll run around in circles and they'll just stand there and look because they can't tell what's going on.
Yeah, their bearings seem like it's messed up.
It messes their bearings up. And man, I have seen 15, 20, 30 deer one time. The wind was blowing really hard. They ran out in the middle of a field and they just ran round and round in circles and couldn't figure out what to do. And I ain't saying that that's a thing for going to hunt in high wind, but the highest wind I have seen here in the South.
In the South.
That occurs. Now, if you hunting a 20-mile-an-hour wind, if you're in Nebraska or South Dakota or Kansas, them deer don't pay that no attention whatsoever. They don't. I don't like it, but they don't. And here's why I don't like it. And I know both of y'all probably have experienced this before, is I'll be 25 foot up a pine tree in my old man climbing stand, and all of a sudden the wind go to blowing, and you sitting there, you doing this.
You
Yeah.
get the swing. Yes,
Or that
sir.
tree starts swaying from side to side. You start praying then. Lord.
Like,
They're holding on.
let me down.
And then you get seasick, and it's like, man, I got to get down from here. I can't hunt like this.
Man,
I've had that happen
awesome.
several times.
That's
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, because here's the thing,
Okay.
Mr. Dillard, our viewers sometimes have a hard time understanding how to read those signs, like the wind, the temperature, and the moon phases. And I'm happy that you inform them on some things they really need to pay more attention to, like the abrupt change in temperature.
Right.
Or, look at the speed of the wind, because you're right. That calmer wind, between 5 and 10, that's like the sweet spot on the wind. You can feel it in your face, get it going the way you want it, but it gives those deer that security that allows them to to move without fear. So
That's right.
the information that we have available to us has to be shared. And I think this is valuable nuggets. I mean, valuable nuggets, Mr. Dillard. Because I want to give an example. The moon phase. I know you said you don't particularly like it, but I could take the new moon.
I won't say I don't like it. I hunt.
You hunt. But
I hunt.
And the reason why I'm excited, about this, because I've had somewhat of a success using that moon phase, particularly when that new moon comes, and that predictability that they move in around 6:30, between 6:30 and 7:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And that 30 to 45, give or take, I've experienced them coming out on their feet during that time, and I attribute it to the moon phase. Now, I've also went and talked about the wind was blowing northwest wind that worked in my favor, away from the food plot, those things. But I pride myself on, you know what, this moon phase thing might have something to it. But
it works well for me.
It works well for you too.
This is the thing, how it works. The new moon, of course, is no moon, right?
No moon, right.
Black. It's black. So for me, I'm just thinking that the deer, for us not seeing as well when you have the full moon out. So when the full moon out, they're constantly walking.
Walking at night, right.
My experience,
that's their light.
I would typically go out later and hunt, maybe from 9 to probably about 12, because of a full moon, because they're moving during the middle of the day. I've had good success. So what you think about that, Rick?
Yes, I think there's something to that, but I'm gonna tell you another one. I'm gonna step away from the moon again for just a second. And this
You're gonna leave that moon alone.
You're gonna leave that moon alone. He said he gonna leave that alone. I got you.
Well, it's just that, yes, it may work sometime, but I'm not always able to go out, so I just try to hunt when I can. I pay attention. Sometimes the moon works, sometimes it doesn't. But this is the one that I have found is more consistent. If it's cold outside and it's frost on the ground, ain't no need of getting in the woods until 8:30 or 9.
Okay.
Now, my thought on this is, and there's no research on it to say it or whatsoever, is that this experience is that the deer laying down when it's frost. The deer don't want to feed on that vegetation with the frost on. The frost will burn off and melt about 8:30 or so. And usually around 8:30, something to 9, the deer will get up and start moving. So if it's extremely cold and you go outside and you can see all of the grass and the vegetation and everything sparkling, and you out there before day in the morning, here's the problem. You get out there before day in the morning, you sitting there, you freezing your butt off. By the time 9 o'clock comes, you like, okay, I'm tired of being cold. I'm going to the camp. The deer are just starting to move then.
Yeah.
So
if
if you sit there and you wait and you can hold out to even say 7:30, 8 o'clock before you just sit down, they'll start moving around 8:30. Around 8:30 something to 9. Now that's been my observation that they'll start moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look what you got.
Listen, I totally agree to him, because I had an experience of the frost where I stayed out there. I got out there super early and was frosty and crispy, like you said. And I was very cold. But when it warmed up, you heard the deer coming through. And listen, I ended up harvesting the deer. It was cold. It was it was 9 degrees in December. 9 degrees.
Cold.
When you want to go, you want to go. And I went out there and it was 9 degrees. I took the water bottle out. I tried to drink my water.
It was
and
frozen.
and it was frozen. And it was frozen. And I put it back in, end up harvesting a buck around about 9 o'clock, like you said, during that time. So you're right. I probably could have waited a little late, Rick, to go out there, but I wanted to get out there and get to the stand and get set up, for that deer, man, for to harvest a deer.
Let me add I'm gonna add a little bit of biology to this as well. And most people don't know. Okay, a deer's got 4 stomachs, and so a deer, just like a cow and other ruminants, has to chew its cud. So in order for a deer to maintain that cud and maintain that system, they have to feed about, research shows, every 4 hours.
Okay.
So the thing about deer laying down all day long and never getting up and moving, they get up and move. And so you hear about nocturnal bucks. They get up and move. They just might not move where you at. They might not move where you want them to be at. They might be in a small 3-acre area, but they're going to get up and move. Okay. So now that buck, because he knows of hunting pressure that's going on and the other areas out there, when he goes out there to where you hunting at, it might be 9 o'clock at night, 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And then he comes back and then he lays down, and he lays down right before day in the morning. Okay. So now that older buck, he's on a different time frame than the does and the fawns are. It may be because of hunt pressure. It may be because just what he's doing, but he may get up and move around 10, 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. He get up, move around, check a scrape, make a rub or two, feed on a few acres or whatever, lay back down, get back up again. He's moving in the middle of the day. Most folks are going back to the camp, going to the truck when that's happening. It is not a major deer movement where everybody sees all of the does and everything moving all around. He may just get up and move just a little bit, but he moved. He got up and he moved. And if you gone and you ain't there when it happens, you didn't see it happen. So it happens.
Well, Doc and I've been discussing, we go out in the woods often. We hunt a lot. And we want to be consistent. I see you got the pudding is on the wall behind you. We want to know consistency, keeping up with the journal. How important is it to keep up with a journal so you can harvest a buck consistently? What is that now, Rick?
I figured out a long time ago, 30 plus years ago, to write it down. And so I actually went into a spreadsheet and created myself a logbook. You may not be able to see the details on it, but I created a logbook, went to a printing company and printed it off. I put in there the date. What type of woods are you hunting? Are you hunting hardwoods or pines? So I wanted to put all those things where I could go through, either put a check mark or put a circle on it. What type of weapon are you using? Are you hunting from the ground? You hunt from a tree stand? Are you rattling? Are you grunting? What's the temperature? What's the humidity? What's the sky like? Is it cloudy? Is it is it sunny? What's the wind direction? What's the ground conditions? What's the moon phase?
Yeah. You were going to look at the moon phase. We knew you were looking at it.
What's the moon phase? So I kept a journal for years now. In the last 10 or 15 years, I haven't kept one. One reason I haven't kept one is because I still have a journal. Because with this right here, with my hunting buddies, my family and everybody else, when I'm sitting out hunting, I text them, hey, DQ, what you see? Man, I've been hunting here since 7. I ain't seen that, but I had a 4-point and a doe come by me at 7 o'clock. And so we send text to each other all day long. So then during the summertime, when I get bored and I'm thinking about deer hunting, I pull up my text. I go back and I scroll through and I write that down. Well, I saw a 4-point on December the 15th at 2 o'clock. And I saw this and I go back and I write this stuff down. So I use my phone, my text message doing it. I got buddies, my buddy Curvin, my son Chandler, my buddy Troy. We texting each other back and forth all the time. That's the way I keep up with it. So keeping a journal is very important because you will start to put together patterns. Now, when you look at it individually and when you look back at it, you can't see that pattern that's going on. But you will start to see patterns that's going on times that buck move, times of the year that they move, where they moving to and from. And when you start to put together those patterns, it's like, oh, okay, now this is starting to make sense now. But now I'm going to tell you the biggest pattern. Now, this may sound like cheating that I'm doing, but and some of the guys that when they find out that they hear me say this, they're going to know I was picking up for information. But when I'm sitting around and we go back to the truck and we sitting down talking, and they'll say, yeah, man, I remember last year, the day after Christmas, I was back there such and such a place back there by that fence line back there, and a great big buck come by me at 10 o'clock that morning. I'm registered.
Journal,
You put
that
that
journal
down.
in your mind. Yeah.
I'm trying to let my mind. I'm registered.
Yeah.
So then he says that. So then somebody else says that. So when I start writing that down, I put it down. It's like, okay, whoa, here's a pattern here. Every year coming right through here, the back of this property back here, so and so, and I'm seeing a big buck.
Yeah.
And so I keep up with that. I don't tell
Right.
them that, but I keep up with that. Plus, I put that with the stuff that I'm seeing.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you start putting together a pattern, and you like, okay. So now for the segue into the next thing is this what you do. All right. We all have a certain amount of days, whether we realize it or not, that we're going to hunt a year. So you go back and you look at it. You either look at your vacation time, you take off, you look at your text messages, whatever. And on the average, you're going to look at it, you're going to say, well, man, I probably did hunt about 15 times a year. Okay.
Right.
So and I just say that it could be 20, could be 30, could be 5, whatever it is, that's the amount of time that you're going to hunt. Okay. If that's the amount of time that you're going to hunt, then do you want half of that to be in unproductive times? No.
No.
So
absolutely not.
So why, if you look over the last 10 years, that you see that the first 2 weeks, opening weeks of the deer season, that you wasn't seeing any mature bucks, but you just feel like, man, I got to go out.
Absolutely.
You hunt 3 or 4 times. That's 3 or 4 days that you have burned.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
so now if you do that, by the time that they really moving, you got other stuff you got to do. You tired, you burn out, and you hunt once or twice. So then what you do is that you don't hunt during the unproductive times. Now you take them same times and you put them toward the productive times. And so when you determine those productive times may be a 10-day span. During that 10-day span, the deer are not going to move good every day. I don't care what nobody says. They're not going to, even during the peak of the rut, they're not going to move good every day. But during that 10-day span, it's going to be better movement than it was before. Now, what you do is that you get out there, and if that's the time when they're moving, you hunt from daylight to dark, and you hunt every day you can. And if you do that, you will see more mature deer, and you will increase your opportunities. It's all about odds. It's all about odds.
Would you say that if you're putting that in your journaling, does journaling make you more successful when it comes to hunting?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
It made me, now it took time. So we come about talking about patience and stuff now. It took time. So for a particular property or a region that I'm hunting, it took me a little bit of time, and you may be able to speed up the process a little bit and figure out an area in 3, 4, 5 years or whatever. But when I started journaling, I started seeing patterns over a 6, 8, or 10-year period that it took me to figure that stuff out. And I ain't saying it's going to take everybody that long, but you need to start journaling, and you're probably not going to figure it out in a year because there's going to be outliers. There's going to be years when, like this past year, we had a tremendous acorn crop.
Yes,
in
we
Mississippi
did.
and probably across
And
the
Alabama too.
and
Yeah,
Alabama.
we saw a lot of deer.
Okay, that completely changed deer movement. So deer, even during the rut, didn't move like they normally would. So if you only base it on what you saw that one year when you had a tremendous acorn crop, you got bad information to go on. So you got to take those good years, those average years, and those poor years, and put all of those together to come up with a pattern to figure out what's going on. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
What about the days? What are the right days? I know you talked about the number of days you got, whether it's 10, 15, 25. For our viewers, can you kind of give us an idea of what are the right days versus the wrong ones where you're unproductive?
Okay, I'm gonna answer that 2 different ways also. Even in the best areas that you're hunting, the deer are not gonna move good every day. So figure your wind out to make sure they don't win you. You're gonna have to put together 2, 3, or 4 days in order to find that one day when they're moving. So I can't say exactly when the best day is gonna be, but the best days are also when you keep that journal. Like I've got certain areas that I know a certain day. Within plus or minus 1 to 2 days, big bucks are gonna move through there. I'm gonna see mature bucks that are gonna move through there plus or minus 1 to 2 days. And I hunt those days every year. Those days, a lot of time, are gonna be predetermined about when the does are actually bred. You don't want to hunt when the does are actually in heat, when they're on lockdown. Now you can kill them then, but they're not moving then.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
You want to bag it up 10 days, maybe even 2 weeks, 8, 10 days, 2 weeks before that to when they're cruising. So the best way when they're seeking. So the best way to know that is to talk to your state deer biologist, look on the maps, the information that they put out, and find out when the average peak conception date is for does in that area that you hunt. When you do that, say for instance, is is January 10th in the area that you hunt. Then you back that up 10 days, and I might even add 3 or 4 more days on to that. You back that up. That's when you really start hunting, because when he's on his feet and he's moving and he's cruising during daylight time, you stand a better chance of seeing him. Once he gets with a doe and he's locked down, it's going to be harder to see him. I ain't saying you won't see him. It's still decent, but it's not nearly as good as during that cruising period.
Right.
Period.
Okay. What is your weapon of choice before it comes to bow, rifle, and why?
I got 2 weapons of choice, but it's not going to be what you think it is. It's not bow. I do occasionally archery hunt. I know Lou is a big archery hunter, man, and I am so envious of the dedication and stuff that you have toward archery hunting. That's just, archery hadn't been my big thing. I go some. One reason I don't archery hunt, I go back to, again, the number of days that I have to hunt.
Yeah.
And during the archery season, it's too hot. The bucks ain't moving. I don't have access to the agricultural crops to be able to hunt them on that pattern when they go into soybeans or whatever. I don't have that. And it's so hot with the mosquitoes and the insects. I'm not comfortable. I like hunting when I'm comfortable, so I don't hunt it. By the time the weather gets comfortable enough
My man,
for me
I agree
to
with
hunt,
you. Hunt when I'm comfortable.
and the firearm season is coming in. So do you pick up a bow or do you pick up a firearm? Bo, you staying at the house. I'm going with a firearm. So that's me. Now, that being said, my weapon of choice is I tried a semi-automatic for years, and
all right,
boom, and leave that thing at the house. I have a boat action Winchester Model 70 in a 280 Remington. I bought this back in 1990, and now there was 1990. So I've had this for 36 years. Now there was a period of about 10 or 12 years when I gave it a rest, and I picked up a very similar weapon. I had a boat action 30-06. I still got it. That I shot a lot of deer with it. But about 6-7 years ago, I picked my 280 back up and I started using it again. So this is one of my favorites. Now the other one I'm going to show y'all is going to be a surprise. All right.
Why you picking that up? We had that conversation about the bow and the rifle, because I know it's when it gets below by 45, 46.
See,
that's right.
See?
About 40 degrees.
See,
that bow, it'll stay in the house.
He want to get stay in the house. I bring mine out.
Right. My second weapon of choice is a muzzleloader. Believe it or not, some of the public land I hunt, they don't even allow certified rifles. They allow muzzleloaders. I got into muzzleloader hunting, but what I like about it is that it requires tremendous discipline.
Yeah.
In terms of figuring out your distances, figuring out a load, the powder, the size of the ends, everything else.
Yes.
And now, in recent years, I have figured out and been able to stretch out with this muzzleloader that I can kill a deer out to 250 yards.
200 yards. 250. Okay.
250. And if he had 300, I've shot at 300, but you got to know you're going. I've shot at 300.
You got to know your ballistics. Got to know them ballistics.
Got to know your ballistics. But I absolutely love a muzzleloader, but you only got one shot. Because when you shoot, and believe me, this doesn't happen, and then you boom, and then he's standing there, and all that smoke. And then that big buck just standing there looking at you like, you pull your powder down.
Gotta reload.
Gotta reload. And that buck like, you must be a fool. Boom, and he gone.
He gone.
So you sell them. Every now and then you get lucky and you get a second shot. But usually you're going to get one shot, all of that smoke and everything. So you got to know your weapon and everything. And I love shooting a muzzleloader. So that's my second favorite weapon of choice.
Well, if you could, go ahead. Well, if you could only choose one bullet that's versatile enough for multiple situations and multiple states, what would it? Rick, you got an example.
It is going to be the Barnes tip triple shot bullet.
What?
Okay. It's a triple shot bullet.
Okay.
It's got a blue. Now, most of them with Barnes have got a blue tip on them. Some of them may have a little different color, but this is what you call a monolithic bullet. It's made out of only one metal. It's made out of copper. or a gilding metal, which is a copper hybrid type of metal. But
Okay.
so this bullet does not separate. When it hits an animal on contact, it doesn't separate. You will get much deeper penetration on this deer, so that if you have a shot and it's the only shot that you have and he's facing you and you want to hit him right there, you don't worry about is that bullet going to go a certain distance and not reach the vitals and not blow up. Most of the time, this bullet is going to blow completely through him. If it doesn't go completely through him, it's going to go to the offside and lodge on the hide of the inside of the hide on the far side. But 80 to 90% of the time, it's going to go completely through him. Why is that important? That's important because the areas that I like to hunt are usually thicker, where there's going to be mature bucks in. And so multiple times I have shot deer at 10 minutes after 5 in the evening, just right before dusk dark.
Right.
And you shoot that deer and he runs off into a cutover. And you didn't get a blood trail.
You didn't get a blood trail. Gotta have that.
You didn't get a blood trail. And so then when that deer ran into that cutover and he only went about 10 yards before he went out of sight, all you know is that deer ran that way. But when that deer got in that cutover, did he turn and go that way? Did he go that way? Did he loop around and come back behind you?
Yeah.
You don't know what he did. So my goal is to anchor that deer right there where he's at. Or I want
drop
to
it
do
where he's
so
in.
much. I want to
Take a nap. Dirt nap, baby.
I want to
Dirt
drop him in the dirt nap. If not, I at least want to create so much damage in that deer that when that bullet goes through, not only do I have an entrance hole, I got an exit hole. So that doubles my possibility of bleeding and having a blood trail. So other bullets, I'm not poo-pooing other bullets because they're good and I've shot them before. Most of your soft point bullets, your Remington point, soft point core locks, your Winchester power points, all of those are good bullets, but they can and will separate in that copper jacket will separate away from that lead and you won't get full penetration on that. So if I had one bullet, and this is the bullet that I have hand loaded and shot for the last probably 16, 17 years, has been the Barnes triple shot.
Real quick, Lou, let me see if I can get this in here.
Oh,
I
go
know
ahead. Yes, sir.
he pulled up that Remington, that 280. Now, for our viewers, I know for a lot of folks that's in my circle of influence, right?
Yeah,
they have never heard of a 280. They don't know what it is. But to give them some insight, I know it's bigger than a 270, but smaller than a 308 or 30-06 or
smaller than 30-06. And so a 280 in essence is a 7mm bullet. So it's everything a 7mm mag is minus 5%.
Okay.
It's based on a 30-06 case. So the case is the same size as a 30-06 case, but it's a 7mm bullet. And 7mm in terms of metrics and everything else is the same thing as 0.284 in terms of in terms of how you measure out in inches. And so they just round it back and call it a 280. But it's a 280 Remington. What I like about a 280 Remington is that you've got the widest range of bullets to be able to hand load. So my bullet of preference is 120 grain. Most people are like, man, you might as well just go shoot a 240. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here's why. So when I combine that 120 grain bullet with a Barnes tip triple shot, Barnes bullet typically retains about 95 to 98% of its weight. So it doesn't shed weight when it goes through.
And separate and
plus
that 100
chip off. Plus that 120 grain bullet, I can shoot it much faster than 140, 150, 160 grain bullet.
Flat.
That 120 grain bullet, I can shoot it at 3,300 feet per second.
It's flat. It's moving.
That's moving. That creates a lot of shock. That's going to help put that animal down. If I shot him with 150 or 160 grain bullet, I might be shooting 2,800 feet per second. So I'm shooting 500 feet per second more with that 120 grain, plus with the 150, 160 grain, especially if you're shooting your Remington core locks or whatever, you're only going to get about 60 of the weight retention. So 60% of 150 is going to be, say, about 80 grains. 95% of 120 grains is 115 grains. I still got a bigger
More
grain
bullet.
bullet that was going just way faster. So that's why.
And you comfortable at taking that little bitty bullet
Yes, sir.
and taking it up north.
Yes, sir. I take it up north. Now, when I was hunting with my 30-06, the lowest I could hand load with the triple shot was 130 grain. I killed elk with a 130 grain bullet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I killed bull elk. I killed bull elk with a 130 grain bullet with a 30-06. Most people say, man, you got to have 180 grain. Or you got to have a 280 grain.
Right.
I killed elk with 130 grain bullet, and I've shot clean through them. Yep.
All right. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, let me try. I'm gonna kind of tie a couple things up in a bow for our viewers.
Okay.
Just I'm gonna back up a little bit so people understand this. When we were talking about journaling and keeping a record of deer sighting, all the best hunters are those that understand patterns. If you can understand that pattern, you then can determine or predict when you will have a successful encounter with a deer. With that, on top of that, understanding your equipment. We're talking about ballistics, grains, impact power, distance, feet per second. But that's
Kinetic
because
energy.
you understand your weapon. You understand your tool. And if you are a proficient in using that tool and understanding pattern, you have a higher percentage in harvesting that deer or any game that you target. So with that, folks, those are some nuggets. Those are some things that are critical into you being a good hunter or to a great hunter. And this is going to be a good segue into our next topic, because a lot of times a lot of unsuccessful hunters become stressed out, or they have some anxiety issues, or they get flustered, and a lot of their frustrations don't necessarily account for the deer they miss, or don't necessarily account for blowing a deer. It may have something else that has entered their mind that caused them to be easily stressed out or easily frustrated. So Lou, I'm a swing this. I know this is in your warehouse. This is something that you are passionate about. So take it away.
Well, you and I talked about this, Doc.
We did.
And we was just trying to see what made both of us want to go to the outdoors. And so, Rick, my question to you is, because of the challenges that we go through daily life, hunting is something that we use to escape with, right? And we love to do. But what does hunting do for you, your mental health? I know what it does for me, but how does it help you with your mental health?
It recharges my battery. I mean, man, I live for being able to go out and get in the woods, because a lot of people don't realize that even when they think it's not affecting them, is that we have so many things going on in our day-to-day life between family responsibilities, community responsibilities, work, even driving down the highway and somebody cuts you off. You got all of that type of stuff that collectively can take a toll on you. So when you get to the woods and you can sit out and you can be still and you can commune with nature, there is nothing more satisfying to me. Now, don't get me wrong. My ultimate goal is to harvest an animal, but for me to get there, to listen to the woods wake up in the morning, to listen to the birds start chirping, the squirrels, the animals moving around, to watch the sun come up, to listen to the crows, man, it's spiritual for me. And it's a spiritual recharge for me that helps me mentally to get away. And, for people that don't do it, I just like, hey, all I can say is try it. Some people don't understand it, but I also say that up until just say 50, 60 years ago, our country was primarily, now we still had some big cities, but the majority of the people in our country lived in rural areas. So they grew up in the outdoors. They grew up either hunting or being outdoors. That has shifted. Our society has become more urbanized. And so a lot of people have lost touch with that and the ability to be able to go back and do it. So I encourage them to get out and go hunting and to go back and do something that has been a part of mankind for thousands of years.
I enjoy it.
Loves it.
We know it's
Love
an
it.
escape route. We know that dopamine is running through our system and it's released regardless if we harvest the animal or not.
What we
It's
need.
just being out there in the presence of God and Mother Nature and just watching it wake up and go to sleep in the evening
And go to
time.
sleep. That's right.
So when it comes to outdoors, why do you think it's more people need the outdoors?
Well, just because of what I said, that they don't realize that they have these stressors that are pulling on them every day. And human beings have been a part of the environment and the outdoors for years and years. And it's a part of us. It's a part of our DNA, whether we realize it or not. And so being able to get outdoors and enjoying that is just a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Doc?
Well, for me, I just had this conversation literally yesterday. I was out fishing out on the dock at a party that I was invited to, and they was on a lake. But while everybody's enjoying the festivities, not that I was, I'm not wanting to be a socialite or not wanting to be a part of the festivities. I found the enjoyment of being out on that dock fishing or having that being connected to the outdoor. And they were asking, well, why do you do it? I said, this is what I enjoy. This is my reset button. Whether it's fishing or hunting, this what gives me my reason for going again. Because I have times when I get down and when I feel like, things are heavy. When I'm outdoors, that weight is lifted. I'm like you said, I'm Mr. Dillard, it's a recharge. And it reinvigorates my sense of purpose. It gives me the energy that I need in order to do the task that I was meant to do for that day. So
That's right.
I mean, I need hunting, I need fishing, I need the outdoors like a fish need water. I'm telling you, I gotta have it. I need it. I can't live without it. So
that's right.
That's it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a way of living.
It's a way of living.
I enjoy it. It's a way of living. And my wife understands that. She at first didn't too much care for it because I used to do it so much. So I had to actually dial it down, Rick, because I was using it as to get out to enjoy, but I was enjoying it too much and wasn't harvesting like you said. I wasn't choosing those days. I was just going. So I did dial it down and start using selective days to hunt.
Hey, I think go ahead. I think we got a caller.
Okay,
we got another caller. Hold on, I ain't mean to cut you off.
No, sir. Go
matter
right
of
ahead.
fact, guess who it is?
Who
It's Dr.
is it,
O,
man?
Dr. Anthony Overton.
Dr. O.
Go ahead, Doc. They hear you.
Call in, man. I was trying to listen in and see what's going on, and man, my questions are real simple. We all have a favorite fish that we love fishing for, and I was trying to figure out. I don't know if you mentioned it or not. What's your top number one fish you just love fishing for, man? Just unequivocally.
Largemouth bass. So as far as catching, I love fishing for largemouth bass. In terms of eating,
largemouth bass.
But in terms of eating, fish for the eat is gonna be bluegill and red ear.
He said in terms of eating is
bluegill and red ear.
Bluegill and brim.
And
red ear.
Yeah.
Yep. And if I had to say my favorite fish to fish for, I like when those white bass are schooling and you go out there and cast to them and catch them. I enjoy that. That's like one of my favorite fish behind crappie fishing.
Right.
So why did you have to bring that
up lately? But if I do get a chance, I'll cancel Christmas to go chase white bass.
Why did you have to bring that up? Because I was just talking to my son about that. He and I were fishing last week on Father's Day, and I was telling him about how I want to fish for what they call the wipers or the hybrid stripers. That's the cross between the white bass and the striped bass. And just like what you're talking about, there is nothing more fun than going out there fishing those schooling white bass and stripers. There's nothing like it. I mean, those things fight. They're the hardest fighters.
Yeah, they fight hard.
I love fishing for them. Right, they fight hard. And when you get into a school of them and you casting that, I mean, it's fun.
I passed the cross a couple of times, but man, I'm glad he's on the show.
Good, good.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate-
I enjoyed your show. I enjoyed your show a few weeks ago too, Dr. Overton.
Yeah, he's hey, we got to get you we got to get you guys
Okay.
together, man. We got to
Yeah.
we're gonna swing
right.
back around and get you guys together. So appreciate it, O.
All right.
Thank you, man. All right. Yeah, that was Dr. O, man. Go ahead, Luke.
All right.
Oh no, you good. You good. Hey, well, appreciate Dr. O coming in on the segment. I got tied up because I was listening to exactly what y'all had to say because, never fished for that type of fish before. All right. So I'm
Yeah.
up here. Let me write down where I need to go, what I need to do, So going into, we talked about hunting. We talked about what you thought about more people need, why they need to be outdoors. And what's your favorite state that you would say?
My favorite state is probably Colorado.
Mm.
And the reason why is that when I go hunting in Colorado, especially in the fall, the weather and the scenery is just breathtaking. So not
Okay.
only the hunting itself, but being out there in the fall, it's still 80 degrees here, but you get out there and it gets up to a high of maybe 55 or 60, drops down to 25, 30 that night.
Okay.
The aspen, the aspen are in full color, fall color.
Uh-huh.
Get some snow, you get your first snows in, and it's just the scenery in
Okay.
Colorado is just breathtaking. I'm gonna give you a second one. My second one favorite state is the Black Hills of Wyoming. That is a beautiful place.
I like
with
Wyoming.
ponderosa pine. I love hunting in Wyoming. Those
Yeah.
two places are probably my two favorite places to hunt.
Yeah. Okay. What was your biggest surprise?
Surprise as far as what?
As far as the experience that you had going hunting up north, anything that caught you off guard or something that you didn't see hunting in the south?
Something was unexpected.
A rapid change in weather.
Okay.
So out there, especially when you're hunting in Colorado and Wyoming,
Mm-hmm.
you can be sitting there 1 minute and the sun is shining and the weather is beautiful, and you
Okay.
can be a mile, 2 miles away from your truck, and all of a
Right.
sudden, before you can even move or do anything, this black cloud comes up on you, and it's thundering and lightning, and it's sleeting and snowing,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it can snow so hard
Yeah.
that you can't find your way back to the truck.
Yeah.
And
I've had that happen to me in Missouri.
yeah, you don't see that in the South. And
You
and
don't.
so you may in terms of thunderstorms, but out there you don't see that weather until it's right on top of you. So it's very important to watch the weather forecast. I don't care how
Okay.
beautiful it looks outside. Watch the weather forecast. Be
Mhm.
prepared that the minute it looks like it might be starting to do something, you get to some familiar territory the way
Right.
you could try to find yourself out. Because I've been lost, other family members have been lost out there when that happens. So that, well, I would say, is probably one of the biggest surprises is just the rapid change in weather.
Mm.
Awesome. Anything else, Lou?
No,
That's-
I was just
that's-
going to say I've experienced that. I've experienced that in
Right.
Missouri where it was
Really?
beautiful sunlight, then it went to cloudy, it
Mm.
started raining, and then it snowed, and then it just all disappeared. The drastic temperature change caught us off guard. We was out there with slick, just September outfit, right? And it
Yep.
switched. The temperature dropped. We in a tree. The temperature dropped, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. We too far from the truck, so I had to endure
You got- basically had
that
a t-shirt on.
cold weather.
Right.
T-shirt, man. I was out there with a t-shirt. So that's one of the main things right there. I say it is. I'm glad you brought that up. No, what's your most difficult hunt?
Yeah, that's a good one.
It was
That's a
elk
good
hunt.
one.
So my most difficult hunt has been elk hunts. And so when my family and I would go out to Colorado and
Mhm.
do elk hunts, we would do what's called a DIY, do it yourself hunt, because
Mhm.
we didn't have the money to be able to go out and pay for these very expensive outfitted guided
Outfitters.
hunt.
Mhm.
Right. So we're
Yeah.
hunting on public land. We're doing do it yourself hunts. So that
Right.
means that also a lot of the public land out there does not allow ATVs.
Mhm.
So now
It's
you
same here. Same here now.
imagine you're hunting 2 miles away from your vehicle
Mm-mm.
down a steep mountainside and you kill a
Yep.
bull elk. How are
Gotta
you going to
drag
get
it.
that bull elk back to the truck?
Not gonna happen.
From the
Man, so now you talk about difficult. And so one time I actually killed a bull elk. I killed him and he ran down this steep, I shot him and he ran down this really steep mountainside. And so I went down and shot him a couple more times and finished him off. So it's really, really steep. So I'm all excited. And so first thing I do is I got to get back up to the mountaintop to get on my radio. So I call my hunting party, my father and my uncle, say, y'all come help me. I got a bull down. So I shot him at 9, 10 o'clock that morning. By the time they got down there, it was after 10. Man, I'm all out of breath. My lungs are burning because of the thin oxygen.
The atmosphere.
And so I'm having altitude sickness. So by the time we get down there, we get to where the elk is. We got to clean that elk on the ground. It was the mountainside, the slope was so steep. We had to tie that elk with a rope to a tree to keep him from sliding down.
Wow.
And so then we had to skin him on the ground. Then when we skinned on the ground, just 3 of us now. So now you got 2 hindquarters. They probably weigh 80, 90 pounds apiece. You got shoulders, you got the back straps. We haul the hide out, we haul the head out, and we haul the ribs out. And so we had to play leapfrog to get. And so we finished cleaning that elk at 1 o'clock that afternoon. Listen now.
Okay.
It gets better. Just listen. Okay. It started at 1 o'clock, getting that elk out. And so we could only carry it, say, about 10 yards, 15 yards at a time. It was so steep. We hang on to the tree. We drop a piece down. We go back. We pick up another piece. We drop it down. We go back. We pick up another piece. So it would take us 3 trips just to move that entire elk to the next point. Okay. 10 yards, 15 yards, and you out of breath. Maybe 20, sometimes 20. Okay. So now it took us from 1 o'clock until 8 o'clock that night to get to the top of the, get to the top of the mountain, not to the truck, to get to the top of the mountain. So we get to the top of the mountain, we sitting there thinking like, we'll be 4 o'clock in the morning getting this elk back to the truck. This ain't gonna work. So we laid it down, and when we laid the meat down, we looked up on the side of the tree, and it was a big old bear scratch with here, like that on the side of the tree. And so the hair stood up on the back of my neck, the hair stood up on all our neck. So,
oh man,
Lord, please protect this meat. Don't let the animal cook this meat tonight. We left that meat laying right there on the ground. We walked back out to the truck, got back to the truck at 10 o'clock that night, went back to the cabin, got some sleep, got back up the next morning at 9 o'clock. We got back and we started packing that elk out. We got that elk back to the truck at 5 o'clock that evening. 5 o'clock that evening.
Wow.
That's my most difficult hunt. Huh?
Guess no predators.
No predators. We prayed on it now.
We prayed on it.
That's right. You prayed on it.
We
Prayed them predators away.
So,
you prayed for the prey.
There you go. No predators. No predators got that meat, and we got that. That's my most difficult hunt.
Ooh.
Awesome.
Well, what's your favorite species?
My favorite species is white-tailed deer because that's what I have chased after. It's just been such a challenge for so long. But a close second has been the wild turkey, more specifically the Merriams. I absolutely love hunting those Merriams out west. I've hunted Merriams in Nebraska. I've hunted them in Wyoming. I've hunted them in Colorado. And I love hunting the Merriam's turkey. So white-tailed deer first, Merriam's turkey a close second.
Awesome. Great. Well, let's wrap this segment up because it's a segment I want us to get to. I think it's going to be fun. But for the listeners, I want you guys to know this, particularly from Lou and I and perspective. You need the outdoors just as much as the outdoor needs you. Okay.
That's right.
I just think that's a marriage that was made for us.
Absolutely.
Whether you hunting different states, whether you hunting different terrain, the passion that you have for either is still the same. I mean, for us, our passion is to hunt. That dopamine is the thing that drives us. And if you are someone who wants to find that escape, who wants to find that rush as well, with hunting in the outdoors is for you folks. Try it. Give it a shot. I think you're gonna love it. I think once it's like I told a buddy of mine, I'm trying to, get him out in the outdoors. He plays golf. I said it's like that tuning fork that goes off in your body. Once you swing once you get a hold of that first one and you take it yard, you're gonna want to go back again. It's the same thing in hunting. It's the exact same thing.
It is.
With that, folks, Mr. Dillard, there's something we want to try here as we come to the end and wrap this thing up. It's something new I didn't want to tell you. I didn't share it with you pre-show. This is a thing called rapid fire. Okay.
Right.
And the point of rapid fire is you have to respond to either a question or a sentence. And I'm gonna give Lou the first 3. I'm gonna take the next 3 and I'm gonna let Lou close it out for the next 4. Sound good?
I'm scared. All
right. I'm gonna take the first 3, Lou. You got the next 3.
Hold on.
No,
Let me
I got
try to get it. Let me make sure I got mine ready, man.
All right, Lou, you take the first 3, and I'm gonna take the next 3, and I'm gonna let you close it out. Sound good?
I'm trying to.
All right, I started till you get there.
Okay.
All right, Rick.
Yes, sir.
Just complete the sentence. Complete the sentence. It's gonna be rapid fire. Once you finish one, I'm gonna get to the next one. Okay. All right.
Let me try to.
The biggest mistakes hunters make:
Lack of patience.
lack of patience. Land management starts with
Patience.
What happened to my head?
every hunter should
Go to the woods.
go to
Every chance they get.
every chance they get. All right.
Yeah.
Your favorite firearm.
My favorite firearm is a Remington Model 700 boat action.
Best caliber.
Best caliber 280 Remington.
Favorite public land. Favorite public land.
I ain't answered that one because what I do.
Oh,
y'all gonna know
I
my
want to tell
mind.
it. He don't want to tell it. Tell it.
I ain't
Smart
answered that
move,
one.
Rick.
Oh, no. Okay.
You almost got him.
I
You
almost
almost got
got
him, man.
I almost got me on that one. I ain't answered that one.
Hey, our plan.
That was Luke's question. That was Luke's question.
That was that was my question. Hey, that's why I was looking down, Rick. I was looking down. I said, no. I thought you had it. God dog.
Biggest buck lesson.
Biggest buck lesson is patience and hunting a year in advance.
My dream
Don't
hunt.
I've been on my dream hunt.
Wow. Okay.
My dream hunt was a whitetail deer hunt in Saskatchewan. And
Yes,
I went with Mossy Oak and killed a deer. That was my dream hunt. I may have another, but right now that was my dream hunt.
I saw that one. I saw that one, Rick.
Yep.
Turkey hunting is.
Turkey hunting is frustrating.
One thing I wish hunters understood.
Patience. I keep coming back to patience, man. That needs to be the title of this podcast. Is patience.
It's patient.
Gotcha.
It's patience.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's patience.
You're right. I love it. Mr. Dillard, final advice, folks. If Mr. Dillard, if you could leave one piece of advice for every hunter, what would it be?
To love what you do.
Mhm.
Don't get bent out of shape. And this is all one answer, but I'm just going to go into a little bit. Love what you do. Don't get bent out of shape when you don't kill or whatever. Have fun. Just
That's right.
go out and have fun, and don't get so serious about it that you can't get out and enjoy the outdoors with friends and family and have a good time.
Right. Rick,
Right.
today, man, it has been incredible having you, sir.
Truly amazing.
It has been incredible. And
Yeah.
again, I'm gonna say, man, I'm honored just to be sitting, just listen to you, because the
Listen to
things
the
that
man.
you have given have been golden, platinum nuggets.
Yes.
And we appreciate not only your knowledge, but everything that you've done to improve hunting and conservation across Mississippi. And I'm sure our neighboring states has benefited from the work you've done too. The work behind the scenes often go unnoticed, I'm sure. But today I'm going to tip my hat to you and give you your roses, because, the things that you do benefits all outdoorsmen who step into the woods, step outdoors, whether that's public land or private land. So I just want to say thank you for joining this podcast of We Hunt 2, We Fish 2.
Yeah.
This has truly been a pleasure. I have enjoyed it because this wasn't like a formal interview or anything like that. We have laughed. I've been able to be myself, and
yes, sir.
That's right. Folks gonna look at me like, man, I didn't know he act like that or whatever. but anyway, I've got one thing to ask of you all.
Yes,
pass it on. Pass it on. So the same thing that somebody did to me, they planted that seed in me, the late Bud Jackson from Virginia.
Yes, sir.
Great guy, was a close friend of mine. He took me under his wing. He taught me. I didn't learn all this stuff myself. I learned some of it, but I listened to him. And just like he passed those nuggets on to me, I passed it on to y'all. Pass it on to the next person. Don't pass it on.
And I must admit that I've spoken to Bud Jackson. Great guy to speak to on the phone. And I will admit that that was a setup that you didn't come. Hey, I thought I had you when Doc asked you about that public land. I held my head down, and Doc came up swinging, and doggone, I thought you were gonna give me that secret that I needed to know.
Do you know how close I almost answered? But I thought about it. I thought about it, and I said, man, everybody in the world gonna know where I'm hunting at is where I'm going.
I talk to y'all
Oh,
camera.
man.
I talk to y'all camera. And I must admit, one thing too, that I've been following you. I've been a hunter. I've been hunting you because I saw you on Mega Buck 7, and that really made me wanted to go to Saskatchewan and harvest a big deer up there, because they were so bigger than the deer that we have down here. So I do appreciate all that you've done in the outdoors, and this bio of yours speaks to the volume of the things that you've done in the outdoors and you're doing today. And that's that one back wall. I know you got several, show that you are putting in the work in the great outdoors.
Absolutely.
So
and for our viewers, if you want to know, I'm going to put, if you don't mind, Mr. Dillard, I'm going to put a link so the viewers can have access to your bio so they can learn more about you. I think that's important.
Sure.
They need to know who you are.
Yeah, that'll be great.
So I'm gonna put that in the bio, and I'm gonna put the link to his bio in the description on this podcast. But if you guys like the episode and like the episodes like this, do Lou and myself a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. And just remember, do what your mama told you. Get outside. Go hunt. We fish too. We hunt too.
That's right. Deuces.